Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala amma ba'du. Then, ahlan wa sahlan ila maktabati. Welcome to my library. We are going to talk about some new books that I purchased in the Bookfair around a month and a half ago. Let's jump right in. The stack of books might look large, but inshallah ta'ala we'll cover it quickly. This first book, الاستيعاب في تاريخ الدولة السعودية الأولى ودعوة الشيخ محمد ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah. الاستيعاب. This is a book on the history of the first Saudi state and the dawah of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. It's written by a modern day or a present day historian who is here in Kuwait. His name is Dr. Sultan الأصقه. Ada Hathlein or Hathleen, I'm not sure, but Sultan الأصقه. And he is a historian here in Kuwait who deals with the history in general, basically, of the Ottomans and so on and so forth. And so he wrote this book in defense of the Saudi state and Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, rahimahullah ta'ala. I was pleased to meet him in a diwaniyah, a guest or a room where people come to sit. What do you call it? Like your living room where you might welcome people into your house. Here in the Middle East, they have a room that is private or sectioned off just for men. It's pretty much open all day, and there are gatherings and meetings there. They discuss things from the neighborhood, politics, whatever else might be there, Islam. So anyway, Sheikh Ahmed Hoja, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him with tremendous good, called me one morning and said, do I want to eat breakfast at this diwaniyah? And I said, sure. And the guest of honor basically that morning was Muhammad al-Khumayis, Sheikh Muhammad al-Khumayis from Riyadh. And one of the reasons the Sheikh was coming was to meet this Dr. Sultan al-Asqah and hear from him about his gathering of this book and the information that he may have not included when he wrote it, but that he had come across. And so this book was discussed in that morning class. The book fair was still going on at that time. He gave away a few copies to some people, and he told me he'd give me one. But even though I like free books, at the same time, I don't like necessarily asking for them. And so I went and bought it myself at the book fair. This is Isti'ab. It's over 1,100 pages. We can see here at the top, it has our bookmarks that we enjoy. It's on cream paper, as you can tell. It's just 2 volumes, right? Quality, 2-color paper. All about the history of the first Saudi state and the dawah of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. Did he fight? Did he make takfir of people? This, and that. This is this book, Al-Isti'ab. The next is a book I didn't actually buy in the book fair. I bought it just before the book fair, but because I am discussing this next book, I'm going to include it, inshallah. Both of these next 2 books, this one and this 3-volume set, are by the same author, Johannes Clomenek, or as many people might know him, Sheikh Abdullah. Sheikh Abdullah is from Sweden, and his lineage is actually royal, but he doesn't like to talk about it. He accepted Islam when he was young. He's from Sweden. He speaks English very well. He was just on a Tibyan podcast the other day. He is very famous amongst the Mashayikh. He graduated from the University of Medina with his doctorate, and he teaches in the Prophet's Masjid, and he is very, 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 very respected by the Mashayikh. In fact, Sheikh Salih Sindhi and some other Mashayikh got together, and they started a program called Yaqeen to deal with the atheists in Saudi Arabia, the atheism that is growing, or the ideas of atheism that are growing. And in the end, everything is put on Sheikh Abdullah Suwaidi's hands. Everything. He's carrying the whole dawah there. Sheikh Suleiman Haley has recommended him. He has a program that he did about Ilhad, about atheism, and he's very strong. And we'll see that his next book even deals with that, inshallah ta'ala. This book is his doctora. This is his doctoral thesis, Muhammad Asad, وترجمته الانجليزية لمعاني القرآن الكريم. This is Muhammad Asad and his English translation of the meanings of the Noble Quran. This is his doctoral, this was, as we said, his doctoral thesis from the University of Medina. It's very thick. It doesn't have our bookmark. The number of pages in this book, counting the table of contents, is 830. We can see that it's just one color print, right? But this is his analysis of Muhammad Asad's translation of the Quran. There's occasionally some English in here, but it's his analysis of Muhammad Asad's translation of the Quran in the English language, due to what we know of him being Maturidi and so on. So he discusses this as his doctoral thesis. And it cost me 6.5 KD, which is around $22. It's not cheap. All right, not over here. Books like this don't usually cost. One volume books don't usually cost that much. This next set of books I did get at the Bookfair. They are also by him, Johannes Clomenek or Sheikh Abdullah Suwaidi, right? This is ردود علماء الغرب على الإلحاد المعاصر. It's 3 volumes. Let's open it real quick. The refutations of the Western scholars on atheism. The refutation of Western scholars on atheism. I'm not sure if this is a risala of his, maybe a magister or something. I'm not sure. But these have the yellow cream paper. They also have the bookmark that we love. All right. Let's put this one to the side so I can have some space. Inside, just one color paper. This is volume 3. I was seeing maybe if there's a table of contents. Each here, as we see, is a table of contents by each volume, not all of them in one volume. So these are just, as we see, rududuhum, all the different for different people, right? Rududuhum, just different rudud. So if someone wants to study atheism, that's volume number 3. And then volume number 2, Al-Hujjat al-Fitra. So Hujjaj al-Ulama al-Gharb al-Aqliya ala Ithbat wujud Allah. The proofs of the Western scholars, the intellectual proofs for the establishment of the existence of God. And then he brings a number of different proofs. And then he has some ردود. So after these proofs, then he brings this. So that's volume 2. Then volume 1. So we see volume 3 is all refutations. Volume 2 is some intellectual proofs for the existence of God. And then also some refutations. Volume 1, as we can see here, is dealing with the history of atheism, the different types of atheism, what is the definition of atheism, what took place during the Greek period, the Roman period, the Middle Ages, and so on and so forth. So basically the history. And then in Al-Bab al-Awwal, ردودهم على أسس الإلحاد المعاصر. It just starts talking about different refutations and about the issue of refutations and so on. So to study atheism and to combat it, this would be a good book for those wanting to deal with that subject. And it's very important in our modern day because atheism is spreading even in the Muslim lands. Allah Mustaan. These next two books are by a favorite author of ours, and I bought both of these in the Bookfair. الوسيلة والبلاغة في شرح موجز البلاغة. This is all about Balagha of Muhammad Tahir ibn Ashur by Abdullah AlFuzzan. So this is a book about Balagha, about eloquence, right? Ma'ani and majaz and all of this inside of here by Sheikh Abdullah AlFuzzan, who is a muhaddith, and at the same time he is very strong in the Arabic language. We can see the paper is 2 colors, and it is 589 pages. It has our bookmark, mashallah, that we like. And this is a book all about balagha. So if you get to that science, then Sheikh Abdullah AlFuzzan, who has an explanation of Alfiyat ibn Malik. Then after Alfiyat ibn Malik, maybe this is something good for the student to study. Then we have another book by him, الشتاء, the winter season, تفكر واعتبار أحكام وآداب. Basically, all about the winter season, thinking about it, taking lessons from the winter season, as we know that this time of the winter, the days are short, which means it's easy to fast, and the nights are long, which means it's easy to get up and make Qiyam al-Layl. Right, this is by our Sheikh Abdullah AlFuzzan in Qasim. It has our bookmark that we like. It's on a cream paper. Right, we can see the 2 color inside. It is 2 color. And the number of pages here is 208. 208. We just looked through the table of contents real quick. We have an introduction, and then we have regarding the winter season. Then down here we have from the ayat of Allah in the winter season, and then we have the rulings that are specific to winter and some of the acts of worship. Then some general acts of worship in the winter, and then to be reminded of the favors of Allah and His virtue of sadaqah, our charity. Then we also have al-istifada, benefiting from the winter season, and some of the narrations of the Salaf regarding that, regarding protecting and guarding one's health, right, and protecting themselves from those things will harm them during the wintertime, meaning the cold, and so using cold water maybe when it's extremely cold outside, not heating it up for wudu and stuff like this. And this is basically this book here, الشتاء. Who would even imagine, most of us might even imagine that we would write a book about the wintertime, right? But our ulama, they don't leave anything off for us. This next group of books is also all by the same author. Inshallah ta'ala, we will just go through them quickly. Tariq al-Khulafa. This is a history of the Khulafa by Abu Bakr, Abdullah ibn Muhammad, ibn Abi Dunya al-Qurashi al-Baghdadi. So Ibn Abi Dunya, and it's got a gem and a ta'liq, some commentary. He gathered them and he commented on them. Abu Muawiyah, Lmazin al-Beiruti. Lmazin al-Beiruti. So this is a small book dealing with the history of the Khulafa. We can see it's a smaller book. It's got the kind of cardboard paper that we're used to with other books when we're smaller, when we're younger. It's 159 pages, all about you can see the dates and the histories of the different Khulafa from the early times, right? As Ibn Abi Dunya lived from 208 to 281. So here we can see that he's talking about Abu Bakr and Umar, Uthman, wa Ali, wa Hassan, wa Muawiyah radiallahu anhum, Yazid, Marwan, Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, Al-Walid ibn Abdul Malik, Sulaiman ibn Abdul Malik, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, Yazid ibn Abdul Malik, Hisham ibn Abdul Malik, Al-Walid ibn Yazid, Yazid ibn Walid ibn Abdul Malik. So he goes all the way up to the year, or the last Khalifa that he deals with, who died in the year 290, Al-Mu'tadid Billahi ibn al-Muwaffiq Billahi ibn al-Mutawakkil ala Allah. So we know this is during the time of, or this is after the time of Imam Ahmed, but we know like his father Al-Mu'tasam and Al-Muwaffiq, these are the people who tried him and ended up freeing Imam Ahmed. So this is this book, the history of the Khulafa early on. The next book is also by Lmazin al-Beiruti, Abu Muawiyah. This is all about Imam al-A'mash. All about Imam al-A'mash. His upbringing, his seeking knowledge, his aqidah, his being an imam, the tadlis that he is accused of, his harshness in narrating hadith, his reading or his recitation, his madhab, and some rare points about him. This book, hardback, yellow paper, as we can see inside, is all one color. It is 728 pages, and it's just about Imam al-A'mash, and how many times do we hear his name, but we don't know anything about him. Here's an opportunity for you to know about him. The print is very big, mashallah. The print is nice and big and clear. All right. That's this book. And the next four books are all by Lmazin al-Beiruti, and they're called Kunasha. Kunasha al-Beiruti. Kunasha means kind of like a quilt or something that's put together from patchwork of all different pieces. These are fara'id multaqata wa fawaid mutanawwi'a min butuni kutub al-salaf al-mutafannina. These are individual benefits that were like lost, or that are not lost but kind of like scattered throughout different books of the books of the Salaf in different subjects. So basically, and he has 4 volumes of this. This is Majmu' Rabi'a, and he's working on his 5th now, the 4th volume here. And it has narrations from 1,761 to 2,291. So basically here there are around 250, about 550 narrations. Just something that he read somewhere. انشراح النفس ليس شرطا في صلاة الاستخارة. Right? To have your chest opened up towards something is not a condition for Salat al-Istikhara. And then he'll say what somebody said about that. Right? Wujub muhafadha ala khisal al-fitra. The obligation to stand guard upon the characteristics of the fitra. And then they'll bring something what Ahmed al-Najmi said about that, which he found was very beneficial. These are just kind of like little gems that he picked up in different books, kind of like Al-Fawaid of Ibn al-Qayyim. And this is his Kunasha al-Beiruti. and he's just doing this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him. His books are very beneficial. He's in a WhatsApp group that I was allowed into, and he answers questions all the time. He's very knowledgeable, very well read. He's in Beirut, in Lebanon. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him and reward you guys. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll be back in a few days with some books that I did pick up in the bookstore in Riyadh, but I forgot about them. But when I went through them to try to make a list of books, then I have a list of books that I did pick up in the bookstore in Riyadh. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.